Yo, appreciate your time and just know that I'm SK Crypto K, and today you should join my crypto club. Maybe by the end earn some dividends, so in advance I'ma thank you right now for that sub. Hey! Yo, let's go.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is SK Crypto K, and today we have a special guest that I will be interviewing for the new layer 1 blockchain coming out called L1X. But before I get started, allow me to preface everything by saying that I am not a financial advisor, and these are for informational and entertainment purposes only. So before I bring my special guest up here, you may have seen me talk about this in my Telegram. I even made a video of this back in March when they had their pre-sale. And I've been out of the scene for a while, but I've been catching up with all of the latest news for the last month or so, and am just blown away by all the changes and everything that they're actually working on. And so I'll give a little high, 10,000 foot view of what I find with it right now, and then we'll clarify everything with Maitu, my guest, before we start answering or asking some questions. But so for me, all right, layer 1X is a layer 1 blockchain, much like Ethereum or Binance Smart Chain, right? And what's interesting about this is that it doesn't aim to compete with all of the blockchains, but rather unite them. So this disruptive technology could change everything. And one of the other things that I like about it is that it's not venture capitalist backed, okay? This is a project for the people, you know what I'm saying? So they are building a ton of things, but what they have with the bridge, okay, this is one of, if not the best interoperable technologies in existence, and they call it crosstalk, okay? And one of the things I'm most excited about is that they will let you swap any token for any other token on any blockchain, all right? And this works across all EVM, non-EVM, public, private, hybrid networks, all right? And it focuses on being cheap, fast, and safe, and uses a universal gas token called L1X. So anyway, besides the bridge and everything, or if they even call it a bridge, we'll clarify that with Maitu. They are making inroads in other areas such as healthcare, gaming, social media, and decentralized identity. But yeah, we may not make it through everything here, but we're going to go ahead and hear from Maitu himself. So let me bring him to the stage. Maitu, can you hear me? How are you doing?
Yeah, good, SK. I can hear you. Thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and your audience as well, and your community. And definitely, I always love talking about Layer 1X. And I love the intro. I appreciate that.
Yeah, hopefully I did a good elevator pitch, but that was my version of it, okay? So Maitu, maybe in your own words, could you not only introduce yourself and what you are for the L1X platform, but give us an elevator pitch of what Layer 1X is to you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So look, I'm Maitu Rudolph. I am the Chief Operating Officer of Layer 1X. I've been with Layer 1X for a year and a half or more. However, Layer 1X has been in development for about 2.5 years. The first 6 months of that 2.5 years was purely focused on understanding the problem that we were trying to solve. So a lot of hours and days and weeks of research, analysis, competitor analysis, user analysis went into what is now Layer 1X. And as you said, SK, Layer 1X is a Layer 1 blockchain. Now, we do get asked a lot, why another Layer 1 blockchain when there's so many out there? And as you said, what makes us different as a Layer 1 is built directly into the Layer 1 is a cross-chain technology called crosstalk or XTalk. What that does, it allows us to connect to any chain, EVM, non-EVM, public, private, hybrid. And so we're currently connected to 8 chains: Ethereum, Solana, Binance Smart Chain, Phantom, Optimism, Arbitrum, Polygon, AVAX, I don't think I missed one. I think that's all of them. There's all 8. And we're currently integrating the Bitcoin network as we speak. And so
Oh, wow.
what happens when we connect to a chain, and look, we've got plenty of other chains that we will connect to as well. We've got a list as we can connect to them, when we connect to a chain, that chain itself has bridgeless interoperability between any other chain we're connected to. So I like to use this analogy. So bridgeless, basically, we use a trustless system through our own consensus mechanism. And what makes us different is that while, say, bridges might connect, 2 chains with one bridge and then another chain with another bridge, but they keep custody of your assets. They're highly susceptible to exploits and hacks. Over $3 billion of hacks have come from bridges today. There are over 40% of all hacks happen because of bridges. We're taking that risk out. And what we're replacing it with is a consensus mechanism and a virtual machine that we've built from scratch, purely from scratch. It's our own unique technology that pretty much places a universal translator in the middle of all the blockchains we're connected to. So those blockchains can speak their native language, can maintain their native standards, but still be understood by every other blockchain we're connected to. Meaning now with our technology, you can transfer assets such as NFTs, tokens, but also you can transfer logic between smart contracts. And why that is so important is because when a smart contract on a chain speaks to another smart contract on another chain, it can create an experience as if you were on one chain. And so ultimately, we want to get to the place where a user can navigate between the solutions on all the chains we're connected to, and never know that they're on a different chain. And ultimately, beyond that, they wouldn't even know that they're on blockchain. They're just being presented with all these solutions on multiple different chains in a seamless, quick, fast, cheap, safe manner. And they've got a need, and now they can fulfill that need with whatever chain that solution, I suppose, is on.
Oh yeah. No, you said a lot of great key points there. But just focusing on crosstalk for 1 second, you mentioned how, so from what I understand, right, it runs a transaction when you're bridging from a different chain to another, all natively with layer 1x. So can you expound upon why that is safer than the traditional bridge, right? And you had mentioned how there are hacks and stuff like that. Elaborate more on that.
Yeah, so and I think it's a really good question to dive a little bit deep into some of the key points that makes Layer 1x different, or the crosstalk technology different. Is firstly, the user will keep custody of their assets. So when using crosstalk, you maintain custody of your assets throughout the whole transaction. If for any reason that a part of the transaction doesn't execute, our system will revert the transaction back to its origin, so your source wallet, and you will get your tokens back on that transaction. So even if there is somewhere in the transaction that doesn't execute, we've got a revert function. It will revert the transaction back as it's back into your wallet. So there's, once again, the custody is always in the hands of the user. So as the old saying goes, not your keys, not your crypto. In this situation, the custody is yours always. And what we do, which is different to bridges, which is also different to solutions such as Layer 0, such as XLR, such as Chainlink, CCIP, is that we have our own virtual machine. And why is that so important? Is because when information comes from a source chain, so chain A, sending from that chain, and it comes through our virtual machine is the translator. So it will update that information so it is compatible with the destination chain. And so now that's why we're the first technology to be able to connect EVM to non-EVM, because in the middle of that is a unique virtual machine translating that information so it's compatible on the other side. The other solutions I mentioned, Layer 0, XLR, they don't do that. And so, but by not having that, they're limited in a couple of different ways. One, they are EVM to EVM. So they're a limited subset of blockchains that they create connectivity between. Also, and if they're trying to connect like an EVM, non-EVM with a solution like that, I think their only hope for them to achieve that would be some sort of bridge structure, because they don't have the translator and the virtual machine technology that we do. Secondly, is because we have our own virtual machine, most of the work in the cross-chain transaction is done by our virtual machine. Now, our consensus mechanism has a native gas fee of only 1 cent and will never exceed 1 cent. So that is where the work is done. And so when you look at, say, a layer 0, like Stargate Finance, they own about 30% of the bridging market. And layer 0 is basically an infrastructure for bridges. That's really all it is. Yeah. But what happens with them is they have to interact with at least 4 smart contracts on the source chain and the destination chain, because they don't have their own virtual machine to make that translation for the destination chain. So they have to interact with more smart contracts, more swaps. What that means is that it slows them down and it makes them more expensive, because every time you do a function call from a smart contract, it ups the gas fee. And so now we have a trustless solution in XTalk, which has its own virtual machine, which can connect EVM to non-EVM. It also has it interacts with less smart contracts, so it makes it faster. And when I say faster, so for example, a Stargate transaction, most will take about 5 minutes. On average, ours will take 19 seconds. And then also it's cheaper because it's dealing with less smart contracts each side. And so currently the cross-chain swap widget on the L1X app, that's in mainnet beta phase. So we're now honing that. And so when we get to mainnet at the end of January, you will be able to do the cross-chain swaps between those chains that I mentioned, EVM, non-EVM, all the chains that we're connected to. And I think you kind of touched on this, SK, is the any token swap, which is really kind of interesting, because when we bring in DEX aggregation, so yeah, exactly. So a DEX aggregator is basically a system that looks at all the DEXs on one chain and compares. Let's say I want to swap one token with another token. It will compare those DEXs, the slippage, the fees, all those sort of things, and it will take it through the most optimized route. So it's looking for the most optimized swap for that particular token pair across one chain. Now, that's quite a powerful thing. It means like something like a 1inch, for example, you can go on and use them to find the best swap for a particular token pair on a single chain. Now, when you take that solution and you combine it with an EVM and non-EVM interoperability cross-chain solution like XTalk, right? Cheap, fast, safe. Then now you can then swap any token on that chain. So through DEX aggregator, and we're looking at a few DEX aggregator partners now, and we'll build more on as we go. But you'll be able to swap any token through the DEX aggregation, use the liquidity cross chain, and when you get to the destination chain, you also have a DEX aggregator that we'll tap into as well to swap it to any other token on that chain. So now you have a scenario, you have a widget where you can swap cross chain EVM to non-EVM, but you can also do any token swap to any token swap across EVM to non-EVM in the cheapest, fastest, safest manner. And icing on the cake, we're also integrating fiat into that swap as well.
Oh my gosh, fiat? No way, bro.
Yo, that is some crazy news. That's the first I'm hearing of that. Okay, so let's unpack everything you just said a little bit. So for one, when it comes to safety, you're doing it all natively because you have a virtual machine. And from what I understand, you guys are the only one that has this innovative technology that does that EVM to non-EVM. But additionally with that, okay, you've got a situation where like bridges, right? They get hacked. I think there was a statistic about 2022, over $2 billion was hacked. And that's because, it's not transacting natively through the virtual machine. You're giving away custody of those funds to these bridges, right? And anything can go wrong, and they don't have a revert feature. So, that's an attack vector for these scammers. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and that's really bullish. Did I get that part right, at least, before I move on?
100% you did, absolutely. And the only thing I would add to that is that with bridges, they also take longer to transact. And so the time it takes to transact, that whole window is an attack vector. So the longer, the larger the attack vector window. So when Stargate Finance, for example, takes 5 minutes and we take 19 seconds, that's 4 minutes and 41 seconds less of attack vector that our transactions have than compared to Stargate Finance.
Oh wow, yeah. No, I'm glad you added that information too. That's key, guys. So anyone listening to this, I hope this has your attention already, because that's really bullish. And as far as aiming for cheap, safe, and secure, that is just amazing. Now, okay, going over to the DEX aggregation and the any token. So clarify this for me. If I wanted to go from Elephant token over on the Binance Smart Chain, I could then theoretically move it over to Pepe on Ethereum in one transaction. Is that correct?
You could do all of that in one click. Yep, 100%.
Wow,
and
that is crazy.
And all it's relying on is that the DEX aggregators that we're connecting to, that token you're wanting to swap, it has liquidity on one of the DEXs that the DEX aggregator is focused on. But look, when you look at DEX aggregators, they pretty much cover all DEXs on a particular chain. And if you're a project token providing liquidity for your token, you're pretty much going to be on a DEX. So I would say there'll be very, very, very scarce situations where a DEX aggregator won't be able to tap into liquidity for a particular token on a chain. So yeah, you're talking, you could, and interesting enough, you could go from, the Elephant token to Pepe to Bonk on Solana if you wanted to kind of, if you were chasing memes, because obviously we're seeing some jumps in some meme tokens lately.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. So one thing I am going to do is bring onto the stage my screen here. So for anyone who hasn't interacted yet with the L1X app, this is the homepage of it, right? And I've already created mine, and I even I put in a dummy number. So if you guys want to call me, it's +1 111 111. But anyway, I think this is really cool, and I think you guys are aiming to have a really nice seamless experience for new users, because we know what's going to happen in 2024 with all of the Bitcoin ETF and the influx of money and new people in the coming years. You're at the forefront of that, and you're about to provide a seamless experience, a homepage for people. And from what I understand, you're even building your own native browser. So instead of using Google Chrome or Brave, I use Brave, I love it. But you're having your own browser that's going to be integrated with all of this too. Can you elaborate more on when that might launch, or what you're aiming for with that?
Yeah. So the vision here for the L1X app, so what I've talked about so far is the technology, it's the protocol level. And what we're looking at now is we're looking at the interface. And so what makes this interface quite unique is that, when you look across any layer 1 or layer 2, none of them really have a front door to their ecosystem, right? So, sometimes you don't even know that what chain the project is on until you connect your MetaMask and ask you to switch networks over to, whether it's AVAX, ETH, Solana, whatever, Polygon or anything like that. And so what we're creating here is a gateway, a front door to not only the L1X ecosystem, but every ecosystem we're connected to. Our vision really is to have the L1X app be the gateway into Web3 and blockchain. Because as we connect more and more chains, it will become that kind of universal access point for multiple different solutions across multiple different chains. And because ultimately, look, we feel, and I'm glad you said this right at the beginning, we're not here to compete, we're here to unite. And we feel we do that for builders, and we do that for users, because we want to create an experience where all users can access all applications and all applications can access all users. Because ultimately we feel that the user doesn't really care what chain the solution is on, as long as that solution is the best solution for the need they have in that moment. And we feel that is actually the future. Like, we're a future where the user doesn't really even care or know or need to know what chain they're on. They just wanted to access a solution. And to eventually, they probably don't even really need to know or care that they're on blockchain. They just know there's a lot more options. It's decentralized, in terms of its safety, and its ownership is decentralized. It's faster in many ways, a lot more convenient in many ways, and that's really all they need to know. And to help progress that, we also are developing our own web browser, where and timeline wise, we're aiming for the middle of next year to have that up and running, where you will be able to build blockchain websites directly on the blockchain. And through our digital identity solution, you'll be able to verify other users and ask for verification that these users are legitimate. You'll be able to verify websites. You'll be able to verify any other entities that you want to interact with. And then because obviously with the explosion of AI and all this other technology, verification and truth is going to be really important. So why not create a browser and an environment that gives you access into Web3? It's fully decentralized. It's all on the blockchain. You're allowed. It's the single source of truth, verification. It's safer, and so many more benefits. So really, that's what the L1X app will evolve to become, and we've already started that with the cross-chain swaps, the EVM, non-EVM, bringing in the DEX aggregator and everything else, the digital ID and everything else we're building on the app as well.
Oh yeah. No, that's incredibly good news too. Because you're right. I think one of the biggest hurdles and roadblocks for onboarding new people is how do I get my fiat into crypto for one? And depending on your country, you have so many different steps you have to do. And does your bank work at the exchange? Yada yada. But the fact that you guys are going to be working on a fiat solution to help onboard that's amazing. Also, with what your goal is to unite the blockchains as opposed to what it is now, right? When someone enters, it's just like, oh man, okay, that project's over there, but how do I bridge? And that, I mean, I remember when I was a complete noob at DeFi, the idea of bridging was scary. I'm like, what is this crap? I'll learn it another day. This is confusing. And then you'll use a bridge and then it's good for a while. Then 6 months later, the liquidity cap is too low to send stuff or it's too expensive. So then you try a different bridge. This just bundles it all up and makes it seamless for people. And really you're just breaking down that wall, that barrier for entry, amongst these siloed blockchains that are out there. And it's just like they're all competing against each other, like come to ours and not theirs. Whereas you're just like, hey, we're the solution that links them all. So I find that incredibly bullish. There's not many projects that I do cover, but you guys have my attention, and I'm so happy that we're having this AMA, by the way. But really cool stuff, man. I'm gonna go back to bringing up this swap page. I wanted to go back and talk more about the swap in the sense that, okay, right now when I use the L1X app, I first connected using my MetaMask, right? And I'm able to use the beta version of this swap right now. I've actually plenty of times have gone from Binance to Polygon and also Ethereum. And I noticed that I had to have a lot of source chain. So if I'm starting on Binance, I need more BNB than usual to make sure that it goes through, because you're paying for the source chain gas, the contract itself, and the destination gas, right? All up front. Is that so like you said, 1 cent transaction fee? That's if you use the L1X wallet. But if users are coming in and still wanting to use their MetaMask, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I have to do a $15 gas fee going to Ethereum, I could use the native chain token, or I could use $15 worth of L1X token instead. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah, and there's a couple of points. I think you bring up a couple of really good points in terms of how the process works with cross-chain. With cross-chain, when you're going from source to destination, you're interacting with the source chain and the destination chain. And where L1X comes in, it's that connector that where it takes the source chain language, converts it into native destination language, and then feeds that through to the destination chain, all through our decentralized consensus mechanism. Now, you still need, when you're doing, whether it's L1X wallet or you're using MetaMask, you still have to interact with the source and destination chain, because they're two transactions that are happening on those chains and they need validation. So when you're validating on source and destination, you're paying that gas fee. Where the cost reduction comes in is that by using L1X as the kind of connector, that's the native gas fee is only 1 cent. And but also when you're using the source and destination, because we're interacting with less smart contracts, that's where the saving as well. So you're still having to, and you having to pay source and destination gas, and you always will on whatever the cross-chain interoperability system is. However, with us, the mechanism that is connecting that is 1 cent, and the virtual machine means that you have to interact with less contracts on source to destination, reducing the gas of the total transaction. So that's for the kind of how you work out that that kind of the fee process, right? You still have to pay source, destination, and middle fee, but ours is less and it's faster. Where it comes in with the L1X token, L1X coin is a universal gas fee, which is another feature that we'll be implementing into this widget. We'll have the X wallet up, and then we're implementing the actual gas fee, universal gas fee in L1X coin. In fact, everything on the L1X app, the main currency, not everything, but the main currency will be L1X coin, which makes it even bullish for L1X coin holders, because it just makes the utility exponential beyond any other layer one out there. But if we're talking specifically about a universal gas fee and a universal gas token, because of the interoperability, it allows L1X, and at the moment you've got to have BNB to transact on Binance Smart Chain, ETH on Ethereum, AVAX on Avalanche, Sol on Solana. What we will do is when we we'll have the DEX aggregator, the fiat, the cross-chain swap, and we'll also build in the ability to have L1X coin as a universal gas fee, meaning that now if you want to transact on Ethereum, you can use L1X. If you want to transact on BNB, you can use L1X coin. If you want to transact on Solana, you can use L1X coin. So that's coming as part of that roadmap. We'll be building that in, and that'll be around mainnet, which is only about a month away.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And where the cost saving is, there's a few places that you cost save. So I don't know about you, but I have dust everywhere across multiple different wallets where I've had to, buy some native token just to make that transaction. And there's always these dust particles of tokens everywhere, whether they're large or small. They're still sitting on these wallets. To be able to consolidate that into one coin, to be able to use that coin to transact everywhere, will save you on having to fragment all this dust everywhere where you're not really using that capital. Now it makes you focus on one particular coin, use that capital much more efficiently for gas. The second is the acquisition and the purchase of the coin. Now, on Ethereum, if I need more Ethereum, I'm going to have to buy Ethereum so I can use it for gas, and it's going to cost me Ethereum gas fees. Same with Binance, same with every other chain we're connected to. If I want to purchase L1X coin to then use on Ethereum, the purchase of L1X coin is, the native transaction of the L1X coin is 1 cent. Yeah. So that's where you also save. The acquisition of the coin not only saves you, but also the not having to fragment multiple different coins across multiple chains also saves you as well.
Yeah. So you're saving by buying the L1X coin for 1 cent transaction fee on your native DEX, but whenever you are bridging, you still have to, because you're interacting with the Ethereum blockchain, you still are subject to the Ethereum gas fee, right? So you are spending like $10 or $15 worth of L1X coin, right, for that bridge?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Because it's still, that transaction still needs to be validated on the blockchain that it's interacting with.
Yes.
And so that's where. And look, and I know there's divided camps here, but I think, when you look at the ability for the capability of the crosstalk interoperability to connect multiple different chains, I don't know how that bodes well for Ethereum in the long term, because, when you have the option to, as a builder, for example, I can build on any chain that we're connected to and still access Ethereum users
Yeah.
because of the smart contract logic. I can still, so let's say you're building an application on layer 1x, you now have access to users and capital across every chain we're connected to, not just the chain you're built on. So that changes the game in a big way for applications, because now users can access them from anywhere and they can put themselves on a cheap and fast chain. Because at the moment, I think developers are choosing between where are the users and capital, or do I want to go fast and cheap? Why should they have to make that choice? And so the additional thing, which is quite interesting, is that with L1X, you can actually pool your liquidity onto one chain. Because we've spoken to, many projects that are on a few different chains. Let's say they're on 3 chains. Let's say they've got $3 million of liquidity, but they've actually got $1 million on 3 chains, meaning that really they've only got $1 million of liquidity on each of these chains when they're transacting on that single chain.
Yeah.
What our technology allows them to take all that 3 million, put it onto layer 1x, and that liquidity, because of the smart contract logic, can actually service those 3 chains that they're connected to and every other chain we're connected to. So now that liquidity is $3 million deep, not 1 million, and it's servicing every chain we're connected to. So how that reshapes the future of where liquidity sits and how applications make decisions on where they build, I think, it has a big impact on the future of chains like Ethereum.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. One quick question I was thinking of. So if you have an existing protocol that, say, has locked liquidity on Binance Smart Chain, are they able to take advantage of layer 1x? Because they can't move the liquidity to layer 1x, right? So is there a workaround where they just integrate into layer 1x?
Yeah. So this is where another aspect of we're here to unite, not compete. A project on Binance Smart Chain can still access the crosstalk technology, allowing that them to access any user and capital on any chain we're connected to. So it's not just limited to projects on layer 1x. The benefit of building on layer 1x is that obviously you're just having to, if layer 1x is a source or destination chain, it's 1 cent. And so your cross-chain interactions are much cheaper if you're located on layer 1x. However, that doesn't limit you. That doesn't mean you have to be there. If you're an existing chain on Binance Smart Chain, you can still access the crosstalk technology, and now your users are on 8 chains, not 1, and your capital is across these chains as well. So we're talking to a few different chains, but already connected to a few different projects to educate them on the opportunity now for them as a application on, say, a Binance Smart Chain, an AVAX, a Polygon, or any of those chains we're connected to.
Wow, yeah, that is groundbreaking tech. Switching gears a little bit when it comes to the wallet. So there's an X Perks program. We might get into that towards the end of this AMA right here. But I connected and I set up my first, X wallet. I think is what the name is. And from what I understand, it's kind of in the format that it is right now. It's more or less a hot wallet, right? You are creating something. It is displaying your seed phrase on screens. When it comes to, security wise, some people don't know if their device, right there, I know you have a mobile app coming, but let's say either mobile or desktop, they don't know if it's compromised. They don't know if they have spyware. And if they were to set up a L1X wallet, the hot wallet way, which is it displays these 12 words, is there an extra layer of security, like via email or something, or an authenticator, just in case spyware did see their seed phrase? Is there some extra layer of security on giving them comfort, knowing that, hey, even if my device was compromised, I'm still okay setting up my X wallet?
Yeah. So we're actually building it. We're releasing the kind of the X wallet connection to the L1X app very soon. I believe it's actually scheduled for either the end of this month or the beginning of January. So what we're building into that, and this is where we're building in the digital identity as well, is where you can, what we're using with this digital identity is that it gives you the ability to pull in Web 2 data on yourself. So you'll be able to pull in Facebook, you'll be able to pull in Instagram, you'll be able to pull in LinkedIn, you'll be able to pull in all this. And as we add more and more, access points that you can pull in your data, you'll be able to pull in that data and encrypt that data. And one of the benefits is that is where we're heading is the removal for the need of a 12-word seed phrase, a private key. Once again, that's a really complicated part of the whole experience of crypto if you're not used to that, right? So it's a pretty steep learning curve, and it can be quite scary. And so what we're doing with the ID and the data that you're bringing in, we're going to create an environment where you will be able to use personal verification points rather than having a 12-word seed phrase or a private key. So personal verification points. So verify your Facebook, verify this particular document, verify this, or have a trusted person, a verified person that would be part of your password recovery, which they have a particular word where if they enter a word and send that to you, that also unlocks a particular part of the security. So there's so many different things that we can do around the security of the actual wallet itself to make it a lot more user friendly, but even more secure, because the more data you have, the richer the security points are. So yes, to answer you, I suppose that question is the next release of the X wallet will have that ability to have all these additional security features in them.
Yeah, like checks and balances. That's actually really interesting, because if people don't like the idea of a hot wallet, right, and they're really dead set on using cold storage, what you just said actually kind of fixes that issue too, because you're using decentralized identity points, right, to verify that it's you, and you can actually move away theoretically from even hardware wallets in a way.
And that is one of the goals. I'm glad you brought that up, because we feel that once again, like hardware wallets did provide a solution above and beyond the risk at the time, right? To be able to provide, but obviously, what we've seen with Ledger, there's still issues, but it's also the kind of the clunkiness of having to have this hardware ledger that you have to carry around. But it's all these kind of really kind of archaic solutions that makes the user experience really complex. So yes, the kind of answer to that question is we have the ability with that digital identity to remove the need for a hard wallet, but create a probably even more secure environment for you to be able to transact on above the level of what a hardware wallet would provide, and it's all based on your personal verified information.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. You guys are working on some very ambitious things here. Just not, you've got the web browser, you've got healthcare, gaming, digital identity. I mean, there's so many avenues. And, what would you say to someone that thinks that maybe, you're not venture capitalist backed, and, how big is your team? Do you guys have the capability of focusing on all of these things in-house, or is it more so about partnerships and what have you?
Yeah, I think it really is a mixture of both. It's definitely about partnerships, and it's definitely about in-house ability. So look, the reason why we're not VC backed is there's a few different reasons. We did actually have a few different opportunities to be able to sell out our rounds with VC money. We even had an offer above and beyond our private sale to take the whole lot. Wow. The issue that we have is with that is what we're aiming for, and you probably kind of see it in what I'm talking about. We want the power currently that exists across big corporations, these controlling entities. We want that power to come back to the individual, and we want to be able. We don't want anyone in the way of us achieving that vision, or feel like they can sway us from that path. And so by opening the door for the individual to be part of the project, I think just aligns perfectly with what we're wanting to achieve. Because, for example, the top companies in the world across, the top 5 companies in the world that make revenue from your data are making $750 billion of revenue per year off your data. And that's only 5 companies. It's a trillions of dollar business industry. And so what we want to do with digital ID is we want to give the user the ability to bring that data in, to create the richest source of data on them in the world, but have that encrypted so only they can see it. Now, if you choose to share that data with someone, that's up to you. That is your choice. That is your power. That is your control. And so we have the ability for you to grant access to particular data points, and you can customize what they see or what they don't see, whoever that particular individual or entity is. You can revoke access. So once you've shared access and you don't want them to have that access anymore, you can take it back. But also you can verify without revealing. So where you can verify particular data without having to reveal that data. So an example would be, let's say I'm dealing with an entity which requires me to be over 18. I can verify that I am without revealing my date of birth. I can store in a central place, and this is how the data will evolve, store my KYC details. So I don't have to then take a photo with me and my driver's license and holding a sign saying whatever that is.
Yeah, I hate that stuff. Oh man.
You know what I'm talking about. But if you owned the KYC information, then a lot of that information you wouldn't actually have to reveal. You could just verify that when you're dealing with KYC requirements on different entities. And so that's just one example of us. We're wanting to bring this back in-house. But when it comes to us helping to build out the ecosystem, partners are really important. So one really important partner that we've just announced recently is OnChain. OnChain provides digital identity, and its specific use case as a chain. It's a proof of authority chain, so it means it's private, and that's important to certain entities like governments, like certain private enterprises. And so what they do is they're now providing blockchain-based digital identity, and they're starting with the Turkish citizens. So they already have 4 million users on the existing platform that they'll be integrating into the existing platform. Those 4 million users will then have access to come into the L1X ecosystem. 15 million users is the projection by next year in that of those users coming onto the system. And so, with those partnerships, we're playing a role in helping bring mass adoption to crypto and blockchain, because a lot of these users would have never used blockchain before. Half of them have, because crypto's in Turkey is really kind of prevalent there, but half of them haven't. And so, by bringing on these millions of people that have never used blockchain that are now using blockchain, I think that we're trying to do our part in terms of that mass adoption. In terms of those partnerships, that's only one partnership, that I think is really important.
Absolutely. And if they're already somewhat crypto savvy and upwards, they can hit 15 million people before they start branching out worldwide. Yeah, you're giving them a platform that's very easy to use and seamless, bridging Web 2 to Web 3. So on the same vein of partnerships, so I have a good friend named AJ Brockman from EMP. My bad. But from what I understand, his team at EMP is working alongside DEX Finance, and they are making, is it called the L1X DEX? Does it rhyme like that?
Yeah, the L1 DEX.
Oh, okay. L1 DEX. Okay, cool. So we'll learn more about that from that team, I'm sure. But one question that I do have is, so with your own native swap, that I was showing on screen earlier, and how bullish this alone is, right? Your crosstalk exchange here, with it going from any token to any token, does that cannibalize anything with the L1 DEX, or like, I don't know. Why would I need to swap on L1 DEX if I'm using any token to any token on your native?
Yeah, it actually enhances it, because with the L1 DEX, the L1 DEX will eventually take over the management of the widget, and the liquidity for these swaps going cross-chain will be sourced from the L1 DEX. So when you look at a DEX, currently the DEX has liquidity for that particular chain, and their liquidity, their transaction volume, all coming from swaps on that DEX for liquidity pairs that they're holding on that particular chain. With the L1 DEX, they are not limited to that. They're now providing liquidity not just for projects and tokens and swaps on Layer 1X, they'll be providing liquidity for cross-chain as well. So when you've got the DEX aggregator any token swap that has to tap into the liquidity for the cross-chain, and that is the L1 DEX liquidity, then it's exponential utility or exponential liquidity and use case that this DEX will have beyond any other DEX. So it's bullish for the L1 DEX. And the great thing about the L1 DEX, their token is the L1X token. So it rewards an L1X token. There's no highly inflationary, cake token or whatever that token is, which just keeps on getting inflated to the moon. It's the L1X coin based on real yields from not only on-chain swaps on L1X, but also cross-chain swaps.
No, that's amazing. And real quick on the L1X coin itself, correct me if I'm wrong, is it 1 billion total supply?
Yep, 1 billion total supply. And there is a burn mechanism or a lock mechanism within that as well to reduce the circulating supply, where the transaction fees that are produced, 50% of those go to the full node validators. 25% of the transaction fees go to the mobile enabled devices. So if you've got the X wallet on your phone, you're a mobile validator, and you can be rewarded if you're chosen to validate. And then the remaining 25% goes to the foundation, where it'll either be reinvested or it'll just be locked indefinitely, taking those coins out of the circulating supply. So maximum is 1 billion, but it could be definitely drastically reduced from that, and more users come on, more and more transactions.
Okay, yeah, really cool. So what you had mentioned too, I want to jump into X perks if I could, and because you mentioned Node and it got me thinking about it. So just so everyone's aware right now, and I'll have a link down in the description below, but there is a public pre-sale going on still right now, and it's live until mainnet launches at the end of January, which I assume you guys are still on track for. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've only got 45 days for that, before that pre-sale ends. That's if it, or it ends, or it sells out earlier. So limited time.
Okay. Yep. Very good to know. And so on my screen, I'm showing right now, anyone who buys, or maybe if you bought in the private round several months ago, or even just now, brand new in the public, by default, those tokens that you are purchasing at 50 cents today per token or per coin, they are vested for 15 months, from what I understand. And after mainnet launch, you will get paid out 1/15 of that every single month to do as you please, unless you make an X wallet, connect to this X perk page, and you will have different X perk tiers that you can change your vesting schedule in exchange for some extra perks. So for example, up top, we have the platinum tier, and instead of the default 15 months, you can choose to vest them for 24 months. And in exchange, you'll get a bonus 20% of your tokens right at launch that you can trade, sell, use as your transaction fee. However, but that's really bullish. And then from there on, you get 1/24 of your allotment given out to you. Plus, it gives you access to certain nodes and whatnot. So is there any elevator pitch in regards to this? What I really do like is that it's not a token requirement minimum for these tiers. It's time based. So you choose 24 months all the way down to 12 months, and you can look at the bonus perks you get. And then the nodes, if you wanted to touch upon that real quick.
Yeah, 100%. So the XPEX program is released because we wanted to reward people, the early adopters. And so what it allows for in the public sale, so private sale, seed round, they've got a vesting period of 15 months. Public sale has no vesting.
Oh, my bad. Okay. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So, but what we wanted to do is we wanted to, and this has been great to see, because I think this shows the belief that the community has in terms of what we're building well into the future. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to give people the option, whether they're in the private or seed or public, to vest those tokens out and be rewarded for them. Now, the rewards are those bonuses that you mentioned. So if you've got some L1X coins purchased in the public sale, for example, if you jump on there now, purchase in the public sale, you can jump onto the XPerks program. Now, you can either opt in or you can opt out to these. But if you opt in, there are so many different benefits. If you opt into platinum and you invest those coins for 24 months, 1/24th a month. So it's not like you're locked for 24 months. They're coming out every month from full mainnet. And 1/24th a month, you'll get 20% of whatever you opt into that particular tier. So platinum, you'll get 20% of those coins bonus at full mainnet, and all the rest of your coins that you put into the platinum will vest out 1/24th a month, each month from full mainnet. So basically, you get 120% of the coins that you had. Gold, is reduced down to 15 months, I believe, and then it's the 6
or 18 months for gold, and then 15 for silver.
18 months, then 15 months, then 12 months, and you're still getting bonuses. So gold, the bonus is 15%, and it's 12% for silver, 10% for bronze. But not only those bonuses, you're also getting other benefits as well. So access to Launchpad. So we've got the Launchpad that we'll be building out, and so gold and platinum get guaranteed allotment in the Launchpad allocations to be able to purchase. Now, the more coins you have going into gold and platinum, the more allotment. However, you're still getting a guaranteed allotment in the Launchpad for platinum gold. You're still getting a lottery whitelist for silver and bronze. There's giveaways. There's all these different perks that you can have, and beyond what you'd normally expect. Now, there is no minimum entry to these. Obviously, the more you put in, the more rewards that you get in each tier, but there is no minimum entry. When we get the full mainnet, this will change to a staking program. So this is where you go into the staking. You have an option to go into these tiers. If you're staking for a certain amount of time, then you'll get your staking rewards and all these other benefits. But there will be a minimum requirement for each of these tiers to go into. So that's the benefit here within mainnet beta, is that one, you get the bonus tokens on full mainnet. You don't get that after mainnet. You get your staking rewards and the other bonuses, and there is no minimum entry. So we feel we're bullish on this. We feel that there's plenty of upside and rewards there for those people that are early and are getting in at mainnet beta. And just to kind of give you an idea of the take up, 85% of people opting in to XPerks have gone for platinum.
They're bullish then. Yeah. Really cool. Really cool.
And then with certain tiers, you can unlock a node NFT, which allows you to host a node. We have exhausted all of the event listener nodes are now gone, and we're limited now to the remaining full validator nodes as well. So that kind of shows you how many coins have been opted into XPerks. So, and this is, I'm a numbers guy, so kind of give you a perspective on this. When we get the full mainnet, we will have a circulating market cap of only 60 million. Circulating market cap of only 60 million for a layer one. This is without taking into consideration what people have chosen to now vest into XPerks. So now that will be the highest the circulating market cap will be at launch. Now we're probably down to somewhere in the low 50s in terms of market cap. And as more people jump into XPerks, get their bonuses, why wouldn't you? Because you're getting your bonus coins at mainnet anyway. That will just continue to reduce the circulating market cap.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's incredible. So I did enlist for my full validator node. I secured my spot. I'm pretty proud of myself. But are there any projections, like percentages per month? Or I haven't seen anything out there. But what can these node validators expect, or can you share?
Yeah, so we'll be releasing, so it will be based on transaction fees, so it's hard to kind of give you an exact, but we'll be releasing, so in January, how to host a node, and we'll be giving you an idea of, okay, this is how the kind of distribution to the nodes will occur. But I can tell you this, owning a node will be highly lucrative because you can own a node and be rewarded, and you can stake coins on the node and be rewarded for staking those coins as well. So if you've got coins, you've got a node and you've got coins, one, you're going to, just by hosting a node, you're going to be rewarded. Plus, by staking coins, your coins as well, you're also going to be rewarded on top of that. So yeah, I can see why a lot of people have taken that up. But yeah, definitely more detail as we come into January, because we'll be talking about how do you host a node. We'll be talking about the rewards distribution, everything like that for the nodes, but definitely worthwhile having them.
Gotcha. No, perfect. So just to be mindful of time, I think we have about 5 minutes left here. Is there anything that you wanted to share in regards to the other avenues you guys are looking at, such as healthcare? I understand you're partnering with a group in Singapore, or even gaming. Is there anything you wanted to touch upon with those topics?
Yeah, so just to quickly show you the kind of breadth of utility or breadth of projects that that the technology allows for or gives use case to. So we're working with HealthLink, which is a Singapore-based project. They're working closely with the Singapore government to be able to provide health data for the patient, to be able to share that seamlessly amongst medical practitioners, to make it a lot more efficient, a lot more secure with that information and that data. And so that'll be quite an interesting use case within Singapore. As they continue to evolve that, you could probably pick that up and drop that in most health industries and across most countries. Very similar to on-chain digital identity, that product, you can probably pick that up and then drop that in to many other jurisdictions as well around the world. And then the other one is Digger Labs, a gaming partner that we've recently announced as well. They'll be showcasing the Digger Arcade, which is basically on the L1X app as well. And then more and more arcades will be built on the app, but they'll be showcasing, initially they'll have hyper casual games on the Digger Arcade, but also they'll be migrating their game like Elden over to the L1X app as well, to have more, more what do you call those? More high intensity, high active games rather than the hyper casual. But what's it? With those games, you can actually mint NFTs on any chain and still use those NFTs in the game on L1X.
Will I be able to play video games and earn L1X coin?
That is, you've got me on that one. Absolutely, you will. Yeah, so that's what Digger Labs is building up. Yeah, the ability to play these games and also earn coin as well.
Oh man, that is fantastic. So yeah, guys, I'll leave a link down in the description below so you guys can research everything that L1X is working on. With the final minute or so, is there any final words you want to just share with the people?
Yeah, look, firstly, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, pleasure to talk to the community as well. But I would say, look, jump in, have a play around with the L1X app. SK will leave the link for the L1X app here, I'm sure. Jump into our Discord. We've got a great Discord community, great community of moderators in the Discord as well. So they're really great in helping educate, answer questions. And yeah, if you want to get involved, you want to own a piece of the technology and the interface. Firstly, to own a piece of the technology, that's where you want to have L1X coins. So you can grab that. The public sale is still open, closing at the end of January at the latest. But while it's still open, you can grab some now, and you can do that on the L1X app. In the swap, you can swap directly to L1X coin. To own a piece of the interface is where you want to get in on getting yourself a username and an L1X app NFT. The L1X app NFT will allow you, we're decentralizing the ownership of the L1X app. So where the L1X app NFT will allow you governance, but also it'll allow you the ability to earn activity fees that are produced from the L1X app, because those activity fees will be distributed across the L1X app NFT holders. So there's multiple, and then the usernames you can actually sell separately from the L1X NFT. So what I would say is jump onto the L1X app, have a look at that. You'll see the public sale coins there. You also see the L1X app NFT, but at the same time, also jump into the Discord, because if you want, you've got questions, either community members or community mods will be more than happy to help you out.
That is beautiful. Well, Maitu, thank you so much for your time. All the listeners, thank you for being here. If you like this video, please hit that like button and that notification bell as well. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you.
Thank you.